People and gear started trickling in on the third day. The boring equipment and its crew showed first, with all 3 tunneling machines. After another visit to the makeup guy, a 60-some-year-old dude with long stringy hair and his left arm in a sling was looking back at me from the mirror. That sling turned out to be a real nice place to stash a small Fairbairn fighting knife and a not-so-small pistol. One last laugh at myself, and I was ready to go into town. I went dirtside to welcome the tunneling crew to the job. Once we were inside, they were informed what they had got themselves into. The tall, rangy tunnel boss with a tag that said Dusty sewn to his jacket said, "So, you're saying that when we break through we may end up standing in the middle of a hornet's nest?" Then he spit on the floor. "That would be about right," I answered, pointedly not spitting on the floor. "What happens then?" "You run out, and my strike force goes in." "Works for me," he said, bringing out an oversized tablet, and staring at the screen said, "Noisy and fast, or quiet and slow?" "How slow?" "I'd say 42 hours for all 3 tubes with hatches, and we won't even wake up any mice napping over there." "Sounds good. Did you want your people armed just in case?" "Hell no! They don't even like each other." Then he turned, walked off, and started getting his crew up to speed. Since they all looked pretty hungover, keeping them quiet wasn't going to be all that hard. Still in makeup, I was taken out to one of the testing ranges that Granddad kept close by. Under the admin building, there was buried a 500-meter by 500-meter training ground with a 40-meter high ceiling that wasn't spoken of outside of the Black Ops community. A group of men were doing PT in sweats and tees, and as I started across the grinder, a small group that had been along the wall by the entrance were suddenly around me. Each one of them stayed about 5 foot back from me and carried a small bullpup-type weapon that was not quite aimed at me. As their leader stepped forward, I said, "Damn, Clyde, I'd heard you made gunny." He stopped and stared, then lit up in a grin and said, "Damn, Lieutenant, is that you under all that crap?" Smiling, I said, "Just trying to give you ugly guys a shot at the chicks," as I reached out and shook his hand. "It's good to see you, Gunny. So, what the hell are you doing here?" We were interrupted by a large Maori warrior, complete with tattoos, dressed in a dark, well-fitting combat outfit that was of a design I'd never seen before, with Sergeant Major stripes on the breast pocket. "Gunny Fialek, this is a closed area. You need to remove this man." "Sergeant Major," I snapped, "due to the clandestine nature of this operation, would it not be safer to hold anyone trespassing than let them run around babbling to the world about what they saw? I'll give him this. He never batted an eye." "So you're the CO here?" he said, as he looked me up one side and down the other. "I'm Major Huffman, Sergeant Major. The access to the main tunnels will be ready in 40 hours. Will the men be ready?" "If I may ask, sir, just where are the officers?" "Sergeant Major, I'm the only officer you get, because I can't trust any other officers at this time." "Begging the Major's pardon, but isn't that somewhat irregular, sir?" "No, Sergeant Major. It is incredibly irregular. But since we are going against officers whose records have been, shall we say, altered by officers that are still in the service, just who do you say we trust?" "That would change things a little, sir." He turned to face the gunny and continued, "Gunny Fialek, can you vouch that this man isn't crazy?" Clyde straightened to his full 5'11", and looking the Sergeant Major in the eye said, "If he says it's so, then it's so, Sergeant Major." The Sergeant Major stared at him for a few seconds, then shifted his gaze to me. You could see him come to a decision, and he came to attention and saluted, saying, "Sergeant Major Pitka Framer, reporting that the men will be ready in 40 hours, Major." "Very good, Sergeant Major. Have you had a chance to look at what intel we have been able to put together?" I looked around while saying, "Do we have a headquarters?" "Yes, sir. If you will follow me, sir." He turned and stepped out towards one of the tents along the north wall.
to keep listening to this audiobook. I've left you a link in the description so you can do it, at no cost thanks to Audible's 30-day free trial.